Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave
Namaste. Hello, everyone. My name is Anar Shah. Thank you so much for joining Strings of Soul, organized by Rungmunch. At Rungmunch, we believe every problem can be solved with creativity and can create something amazing. With this in mind, they have created a new initiative, Vista, Virtual Stage with a Cause. Today, we have gathered here to celebrate an auspicious event, Guru-Pournima. I'm privileged and honored to present two great artists for today's event. The greatest santoor player in the world, the maestro, Padma Vibhushan, Pandit Shivkumar Sharma ji, and my guru, Madan ji. Madan ji is a great teacher. He is very dedicated, patient, and humble. It has been my honor to learn from him. So on this auspicious day of Guru-Pournima, I want to express my deep gratitude to him. He always advises me to listen to all different types of music. With this, I will hand it over to my fellow student, Ashok. Thank you.
Thank you, Anar. Before I hand it over to Madanji, I also wanted to add my personal feelings and thoughts about what our Guru's teaching style has done for us and how it has enriched our lives tremendously. Guruji has done more than simply teach us how to play a very beautiful instrument, the santoor. He's really encouraged us to develop our minds, our thought process, our creativity through this art form, which is really ultimately just poetry, but through sound. So at every turn, Guruji challenges us to understand, to think, to connect the dots and see the multiple layers that underlie the creation of beautiful music. This has really, truly been a phenomenal outlet for our personal creativity, outside of the day-to-day grind of working. And it's really challenged me to be a more effective and honestly, a more crisp thinker. So I'm extremely fortunate, we are extremely fortunate and grateful to have him as our Santoor Guru. Without further ado then, I will hand it over to our Guru, Madanji.
Namaste. I am Madanok, a humble student of one of the greatest musicians that India has produced. Somebody who is really an iconic guru. And when I say a guru, it's not just somebody that you go to learn a subject like music, for example. A guru, in my definition or my experience, is somebody who takes along you on a journey which has an open end, actually, and somebody who guides you and holds your hands together, and at the time of need gives you a little push as well, challenges you, at times gets angry at you, something which doesn't happen with Guruji actually. But what I'm saying is we are all blessed in this world to have such an iconic guru. in the sense that it's not just the music that we learn from this guru, and the guru is none other than Pandit Shivkumar Sharma ji. On this occasion of Guru-Pournima 2020, I surrendered myself to him, all my prayers for his long life. I would like to get his blessings and help us all learn music. At the same time, he always mentions that it's not just you are learning music, you should learn how to become a better human. And जैसे वो हिंदी में कहते हैं, लाइक पहले आप अच्छा एक ह्यूमन बीइंग बनो, संगीत अपने आप आ जाएगा. This is what he has said in the past. It is it's a privilege to be learning from somebody of his stature. Two great musicians, in my opinion, have come from India that have totally altered the landscape of a instrument. For example, one of them was a great Shehnai player, Ustad Bismillah Khan Sahab. He totally transformed the instrument that was played in temples, and that instrument would be played in like Shadi Byah and all those occasions. But he took it from there and brought it to a stage of a concert, and he totally transformed it and gave it a huge limelight that nobody had heard Shehnai that way before. And if you see in many Indian marriages or any other occasions that we need the Mangal, so to say, Mangal experience, or the atmosphere gets totally transformed when we listen to his Shehnai. Extremely talented and a very humble human being who was a Bharat Ratna, very correctly. So that this is really what has happened to Shehnai. The same exact thing, in my opinion, has happened to an instrument called Shatatantri Media. This instrument was originally supposedly a part of a group of instruments that will accompany the vocal performer of a music style called Sufiana Mausiki. And that comes from the Valley of Kashmir. And that particular instrument was never heard from anybody until my Guruji's Guru, Pandit Umadat Sharma ji, identified the potential of such a instrument, and he brought it to Guruji, my Guruji, and the journey started there. It was his idea that transformed this instrument entirely. Guruji has been performing music for over 60 years. It's a huge journey, and we have to understand how he has gone through the pain. He didn't attain this stardom from beginning. It was that his hard work and his labor of love, so to say, for this instrument, that brought us to today, where most of the famous music festivals that are happening around the world or considered to be iconic music festivals always feature somebody who is playing a santur. And so how did this happen? Actually, the instrument is a very, very ancient instrument, and Guruji has talked about it several times in variety of interviews that he has given. One such interview was done by the great sitar maestro Arvind Parikh ji in NCPA Mumbai a couple of years ago. And in that particular interview, Guruji talks at length about what is the history of Santur, how it transformed into this today's status, and what he had to go through to live up to the standards of Indian classical music, and how he was criticized all along, and how he kept himself, a big belief that he had in himself that basically led him to take this instrument to this level today. There's also another interview which I came across, which was done by the great tabla maestro, um, and he also, Yogesh Shamsi. He In that interview also, Guruji has expressed his thoughts about the instrument and how it should sound and what all he has done as far as the transformation that has happened in this instrument. So it's a long journey. So I think I was fortunate to be born in a city like Pune, which is a very culturally rich city of India. And I was born luckily in a family which basically valued music immensely. I mean, I don't remember a single day where we didn't have anything musical going on in the house. My father, late Shri Vasanta Yashwant Oak, he was a very talented vocalist and a phenomenal harmonium player. And he was actually a scientist, a chemistry subject scientist, and he was working for the defense of India, defense government of India, and he was part of their local cultural group in the office, and where they used to have these drama competitions, and where my father, definitely being part of music and was a big fan of music, definitely offered his help and services for directing the music for one of such dramas. I think the name of the drama was Sainik Navasa Manus. I think it was written by Madhukar Toradmal, a very talented Marathi writer. And my father used some of the clippings or records or that was available to him, and tried to put some music together. So the history is this, that I would always follow him wherever he was doing any musical activities. I would always follow him, go around with him. Would love to. I always loved listening to the. Somebody would come in our house and play violin. Somebody would play tabla solos, and my father, of course, would sing. So I would always follow him on his commitments as such. So one such occasion, when they were trying out the particular soundtrack for the opening of this drama, Sainik Navasa Manus, my dad used one of the greatest compositions of Ghulam Muhammad, actually, which was completed by Naushad Saab, and the film was Pakiza. The film Pakiza has title music where it's based on Rag Mishra Pilu, and so there is a. I was listening to the opening of the titles, and that while I was sitting in the auditorium, and suddenly at the 58th second of the track, I suddenly see this. I suddenly hear this music, and it's about a 17-second piece of Santur, and talk about capturing somebody's heart, and that was the moment, like 17 seconds of that music, and I am a big fan of Guruji. So that totally transformed me. And of course, that is how it all started. I was fascinated by the sound, and I was a very small kid, like 15-year-old kid. And that's what shook me thoroughly. And but it is a very rare instrument. It's a very old instrument, if you see, but it's a very rare instrument in those days. I'm talking about in the 70s, and didn't have a santur to look at or see or feel how it is and all in Pune that time. One of my aunts who was visiting us in Pune at that time, she told me that there's a museum in Pune and that has this particular instrument. So I definitely went and looked at the instrument, studied the instrument, and then later on I made my instrument because I was technically, interested in that. So later on, Guruji once visited Pune for a concert in Pune Club. And that's when I met him for the first time. He was accompanied by the great tabla maestro Shafad Ahmed Khan, who's no more. But that was my introduction of Guruji, and I showed him the instrument that I had made, and he was the only question he asked me, how much time it took you to make this instrument? So I said, like, I was working on this for like few months, So that time he said, if you would have contacted me and I would have given you the direction as to where to go get this particular instrument, you would have been already playing the instrument. But I said, like, I don't know how to play it. So then he said, okay, I'll teach you. So that is what was my biggest, fortune to get this blessing from Guruji. And ever since that rapport, of course, grew. And what I want to talk about is Guruji and his basically his life and the things that he has done for the instrument. So let's look at some of the pictures and some of the rare footage of what Guruji's life is about and what this particular icon is. Can we start the slides, please? Pandit Shivkumar Sharma ji, my guru. His father, Pandit Umadat Sharma, who was an acclaimed musician and a vocalist from Banaras Gharana. His mother, Kesari Devi ji. This is Guruji at a very young age. Guruji had originally started learning vocals, and he was also a performing artist on Radio Jammu. You can see he has been accompanying great masters who visited in Valley of Kashmir and Jammu. And he then later on switched over to Santur and performed his first ever performance in Mumbai in the year 1955. And this is a family archive photograph of Guruji. And then later on, he tied up with Pandit Hariprasad Chaurasia and Brijbhushan Kabraji and came up with one of the all-time great albums of Call of the Valley. Of course, then later on, being introduced in the film music, he had an opportunity to go and perform for recordings with greats like Muhammad Rafi Saab, Ravi Shankar ji, and he then later on also performed, gave music to films such as Silsila, Fasle, Chandani, Lamhe, the list is big, and also Dar. And he has been performing together with Hariji variety of duets. And he has traveled to America and of course visited Pandit Ravi Shankar ji in San Diego, as you see. There was an initiative by Government of India where the great Jabbar Patel ji showcased the entire life of Guruji in the particular video that was released by the name Antardhwani. And in Antardhwani, Guruji has expressed in details his entire life of his music in that particular video. So in May 15, 2011, we were fortunate to have Guruji come to America and present that video to the local Bay Area audience that were great fans of Panditji. So on that particular day, Guruji also attended a question answer session. And today's particular Guru-Pournima, this particular event was supposed to be a live discussion with Guruji. But since we have this corona virus that is going on, and there is huge lockdown that is happening all around the world, we were not able to establish this particular link with Guruji, and we were not able to come up with a live session as such. And so what we are going to do is we have the entire presentation of the question answer session that happened at that time in 2011. So that particular concert had a couple of items in it, in the sense, first there was welcome to Guruji to the event, where we showcased how we value our gurus and music teachers and how we welcome them to the venue. So specifically, that's why we are including that particular video footage today. And quite a few of our listeners were very much helpful during the entire production of this event. One of our participant presenter, Nandini Kanere, she was there. She helped us immensely in managing the question answers. She also welcomed Guruji as well. Prasad Bhandakar, who took a phenomenal interview yesterday with Hariji, he was also present there and doing the actual video recording. One of the greatest organizations in Bay Area which promote arts and performing arts and theatricals by the name Kala. The director of the Kala, Mukund Marathiji, he was also there. So, and of course, my family, Madhvi, my wife, and my daughter, Devika, and our tabla teacher, K. Urganikar, he was also there. So all these people have contributed for this particular presentation, and I thank them for that. And so if we can start with some, we have some of those clips that we want to show you. So if we can roll that particular clip, that will be great. Panditji arriving at the auditorium. This is our tradition. This is how we want to treat our musicians that come to perform in front of us. As Guruji has talked about this in the video later on, this is not just a form of entertainment or any such thing. I want to express my sincere gratitude to all of you. On a busy Sunday evening, you have found time and are attending our concert here. So we are very much privileged that you are here with us. And the biggest privilege is that we have my Guruji here, Pandit Shivkumar Sharma ji, whose blessings have been the greatest thing in my life. I have been blessed by his guidance, and I'm so fortunate for that. He has taught me a lot of things. I wish I can play at least 1% of that to my satisfaction at least. So without further ado, I will start my performance today. That was just a small glimpse of the concert that day. After that, we had presented Guruji's entire Antardhwani video. And after that, we moved over to the question answer session. So let's roll the question answer session now.
Panditji, first of all, thank you for sharing this wonderful film with us and giving us a glimpse in your childhood and all of your career. Question I have is that you have made a number of improvements to the santoor instrument. Do you feel that there is more that is left, that you would have liked to do something more, and that you couldn't complete that?
Thank you very much. I think in any art form, there is no limit. And one keeps on experimenting, trying out different things. And as I said during when I was talking in the film, I've already talked so much in the film, so again you are hearing me again. I hope you will not get bored of my voice. So there is no limit. When I started playing this instrument, nobody had ever attempted classical music on this instrument. And with the grace of God, it happened. And now there's an established system, technique, all set, and future santoor players can follow that. But there are certain things which I am experiencing now. For example, when I mentioned about duets during my film, that I stopped playing duets because all the time people were saying different things. Okay, with duet it sounds good, but not solo. Then solo also happened. One thing I would like to point out, possibilities are immense, because my whole life was focused on establishing this instrument as a classical instrument. And sometimes I got certain offers. I remember in 90s somebody came to me and they wanted me to do a joint with a saxophone player from Oslo, Norway, very well-known saxophone player, Jan Garbrek. And I felt personally that santoor and saxophone don't go together. It's not a right kind of combination. That was my thinking at that point of time. And now, answer to your question. My son, who was playing and talking here in the film, Rahul, he has released an album with Kenny G, the world-renowned saxophone player. And I have heard that recording, and I had to change my opinion. Okay, it's possible. So possibilities are always there. It depends who is the person who thinks about that, who thinks ahead, who thinks differently, and has got the ability to do it. So I always say Shivkumar Sharma is the not last word in santoor. And nobody can say I am the greatest or I am the last word. There are possibilities. There could be people who would come and think something differently, what I thought. So there are possibilities.
My name is Timo Wadhavan, and I've been a fan of yours since '67 when I left India. I had one album with me, which was The Call of the Valley. And ever since, I have that, and I have newer versions, the CD. But today was the first time I found out that your knowledge of music is like knowing a nation. You're like a nation of music unto yourself. So it was amazing to see you, hear you, even though not directly, but through the movie. But I have to ask you a question, and it's going to be a question which is a little open-ended, but I want a short version of yours. Like, it's almost like, what is the purpose of life? and what you want to achieve from this point forward?
A very deep question, but that is my subject. Yesterday, I don't know whether that young girl is there. She is there? Vedisha. She had asked me a similar question. And what is the purpose of life? You know, I'm a musician from India, and Indian music is deeply rooted in spirituality. The origin of Indian classical music is there. In ancient times, music was not just an entertainment. It was something much, much beyond that. And it was used for one of the means to go inward. Now, this word, in going inward, is knowing the self. And through music, it becomes easier. I have experienced it. At point, sometimes when I'm playing a concert, not always, rarely, it happens with me, that after I finish the concert, something happens. There is a connect between the music and the self, and it becomes one. And I forgot about the audience, I forget about the which country I'm sitting, and that takes me what we call in Sanskrit shunya, that state of mind, nothingness, and a kind of bliss which cannot be expressed through words. So, in the last part of the film, I have touched upon this point. And right now, this is my effort. Even when I'm playing at home, even when I'm tuning my instrument, for me, even tuning the instrument is like meditation. So, this is a very, very deep subject, and you have asked me about it, and I am just a beginner in that field. And I have been practicing it for so many decades, but still I'm a beginner. But I'm going towards that, and that is the ultimate. The human life is given to us for various purposes, which we do as a good citizen of a country or of the world, or a good family man or whatever. But ultimate is to know, who am I? Who am I? That is the question. People who pursue this path of spirituality, that is the first question they ask themselves. And life passes, whole life goes by to get the answer. So I am in search of that. But I am on that path. I have got the path. And through music it helps. Thank you very much.
Namaste, Panditji. My name is Prakash Hegde. Music, dance, and yoga is what my heart beats for. I'm so happy to see that up on the stage. And I think you are a living example of all that to me. My question is, do you truly believe in rebirth? If so, what would you like to be born as?
First of all, it's not in my hands. But if I am given a choice, I will come back and what, when I'm playing a concert now, these days, after playing this instrument for 60 years, people come and tell me so many things. They go to the point of telling me, you are God of Santur. But I am thinking where I goofed up during the concert. And when I go back home, my mind is there. How it happened? How did I do that? How I couldn't do better? And next time I should try. So, your answer to your question is, of course, if I'm reborn, I come back to this planet again, I will rectify those mistakes.
Namaste, Panditji. My name is Mehul Dave. My question is about our Guru Shishya traditions, which have been oral. What would you say would be the essential part of Guru Shishya tradition in your experience?
You people are asking very good questions. Sometimes, one can think there's less people here, but the quality is that matters. So I'm very happy to see that so far the kind of questions you are asking, that shows your quality and that shows your interest in this art form and the connected things. Guru Shishya Parampara is the gift of India to the world. I don't think it was any other country had that tradition. There was a time when anything, if you read our mythology, you read our Puranas or Shastras or Ramayana or Mahabharata, for everything one had to go to a guru. Whether it was archery, it was Ayurveda, it was astrology, it was music, it was Vedanta, anything. There was a system of Guru Shishya Parampara, and Guru in our tradition is most important after parents. So there are sayings that when Bhagwan is in front of you and Guru is in front of you, who you bow down first? Because Guru gives you the knowledge. So that importance was there in India in each and every field. Unfortunately, we lost it in other fields. But fortunately, in the music field, we are still maintaining it. There are two ways of learning music. If one wants to learn music as a hobby, one can go to a classroom and learn music. Shatatantri is teaching music. There are so many music schools in Bay Area. And this is very, very good. And if one wants to pursue it as a hobby or just, pastime, that is a very good way of learning music. But if one wants to become a performing musician, the only way is Guru Shishya Parampara. And there is no other way. Because we call it Guru Mukhi Vidya. You sit in front of Guru and then you learn. And just not the music. There are so many things related with that. You have to learn to first understand how to become a better human being. What are the traditions? So there are so many factors in that. So, fortunately, in India, we have kept this tradition alive, although times are changing and people want very quick results and all that. But still, there are serious musicians who want to pursue this art form. So they come to a guru, and that tradition is alive, and it will be alive. And it is all over the world. Now, in this area, Ustad Ali Akbar Khan Sahab started that. I think that's because of him. There is so much interest of music. And so many musicians came and settled here. So he is one of the greatest musicians of our country. So this tradition will carry on. And I wish in other fields also we could have maintained that tradition. Unfortunately, it's not there.
Pranam Panditji. Before I ask my question, I would like to answer one of the previous questions. If I'm to be reborn, I would like to be born and become Pandit Shivkumar Sharma number 2.
Gopalji, you are great.
My question is, India being under Muslim rulers for about 600 years, who came from other countries, how much has Indian classical music been influenced by the music of those countries?
Very good question. You know, these days, sometimes I come across some musicians, or it was more in 20, 30 years ago. If a musician is learning from one ustad or guru, they were forbidden to listen to other type of music or be influenced by other style of music. The fact is what you mentioned, particularly what we call Hindustani music, North Indian classical music. First of all, I don't understand why these two different names. Why North Indian music is called Hindustani and South Indian is called Carnatic? Carnatic is also Hindustani. I have yet to understand that. But maybe the reason is Hindustani music, North Indian music, was influenced by people who came from other countries and settled in India. For example, Persian. There's a lot of influence of Persian music and other types of music. And the quality of North Indian music is, and that should be the case in any art form, that you take influences from other genres of music or styles of music, but assimilate it in such a way in your music that it becomes part of your music. So that is what has happened in this case, that many rags, many styles, for example, Sufism, Sufi music, and musicians, scholars like Amir Khusro, he was not an Indian, but he influenced a lot of North Indian music. He gave so many things to this music, and that became part of our music. So I mostly tell my students, just not listen to classical music. Listen to all kind of music. At the same time, if you listen to all kind of music, never try to imitate that. Just listen and let it be there. And what happens, that enriches a musician's ideas, imagination. So North Indian music did have influences of various kinds of things, people coming from different countries. And so that it developed into a different form. Certain forms came after those influences. For example, Drupad Dhamar was different, and Khayal is different, and Thumri is different, Tarana is different. So there had been influences, even some rags. Thank you so much. Ji. Mike? Here. Oh, okay. Time limit in the hall. They will throw us out when?
Panditji, my name is Vikas. I've
Ji.
been tabla from Arshidji. And I wanted to ask you, when a tabla player is accompanying santur, what should they be listening for?
When a tabla player is accompanying santur, let me tell you generally also, the art of tabla accompaniment is most difficult art. To play tabla solo is okay. You learn from your guru, you practice, and you perform what you have learned. But to become a good accompanist, you have to understand, first of all, the instrument with which you are playing. For example, when you are playing with santur, your volume will be different from when you are playing with sarod or when you are playing with a vocalist. So first of all, you have to understand that. Secondly, most important and difficult is each individual musician has got different style of music, different taste. I may like one style of accompaniment and my student may like a different style of accompaniment. It's like that. So you have to understand that particular individual musician's taste and style and preferences, what he or she wants, and then you have to accompany. I will give you an example. Few years back, we were touring in America, and after a concert, some people came and told Zakir that you gave an excellent tabla accompaniment this evening. So he said, I am his driver. He is sitting in the car and I am driving that car. That is my duty. And I should drive in such a way that he is very comfortable. If there are some potholes, I should drive it in such a way that he doesn't feel it. And that is my duty. What an example. And tabla player has to understand where I want that he should be quiet, he should be soft, where I want that he should show his art. That is most important. So there is a relationship between tabla player and the main artist, which develops after years and years of playing together. It doesn't happen just you go and there comes a time. Now, for example, Zakir, if he plays with anybody unknown because he's so experienced. I'm reminded of Pandit Kishan Maharaj Ji. He told me once there was a dancer, Kathak dancer, who came to Banaras, and he was fantastic dancer. And it was so difficult to match the dexterity and the complicated things he danced to match. And he was giving different concerts. And one day, Kishan Maharaj Ji was invited to play with him. And the first question that dancer asked him, you never came to any of my concert. Why? He said, because had I come, you would have told me because I had heard you. I wanted to play with you without hearing you. So today I am coming for the first time. So that happens when you go to that level. It's a long journey. That's it? Okay.
Panditji, thank you for a phenomenal performance in Santa Cruz a week or so ago, and today was also fabulous. The question I had for you, Panditji, is that when you look at the performers in the Indian classical music area, you see some huge stars such as yourself and Pandit Ravi Shankarji and Pandit Hariprasad Chaurasia. And when you look at the performers of today, you don't see any of those stars. You see there are some pockets of brilliance which are limited very much within those pockets. So my question is, what do the performers of today need to do to, one, attain the kind of starhood that some of you have, and then second, more than individual starhood, really to keep spreading this form of music and making sure that we just don't become another form of pop music or another form of this hugely fusion music and lose our own identity. Thank you.
First of all, I was mentioning in my film, when I was struggling to establish this instrument, nobody called me a star. So one has to go through that. So there are people who are in the process of becoming a star, and it doesn't happen overnight. So we have all gone through that. When people used to say, oh no, these are not the stars, it's not possible. So this is one thing. Second part of your question is to how to preserve this art form. I think that is what you meant. Any art form could be preserved by two factors. One is, it's both combined. If there's no patronage, if there is no following, there will be no interest for musicians or inspiration to become a musician. So first of all, there should be audience. Fortunately, in India, contrary to what electronic media is projecting, classical music is appreciated very well. And there's a large audience of classical music who come regularly. You saw one scene in this film which was from Savai Gandharv. I was playing, and that day there were about 15,000 people in the audience. So this is happening in India. There are festivals all over the country. And another thing that is happening, all over the universities, colleges, schools, regular programs are happening. There's a SPIC-MECE, students organization. So a lot of music is happening, and a lot of young musicians are performing. But what happens, there's a tendency that audience want to share the senior musicians more. And they consider, as they put that star word with them. But one has to go through and then they become. And it's not an instant coffee-like thing. It takes time to mature and to become that artist and to be known. And it's happening in India. There are wonderful musicians who are working on this. And sometimes maybe they are not coming to this side of the world. But in India, it's happening. And I also feel a musician should first be known in his own country. And then they come out of their country and then it's good. If they just leave their country and try to make it base in America or Canada or Germany or somewhere, and people don't know them in their own country, that's a difficult situation. And no matter it happens late, but once it happens in your own country, then you should come out. So I'm not worried about the future of Indian classical music. What I am watching, what I am seeing, the following of this music and the performers.
We'll have a couple more questions
Okay.
in the interest
Yes,
of time.
जी, he wanted to ask. को माइक दे दीजिए.
Thank you, organizers. And thank you, Panditji, again. Namaste. I come from a very small village from Karnataka, not too far from where Pandit Bhimsen Joshi ji and Gangubai Hangal. And I'm really feel so deeply connected to that root. That land may not have the iPhones and Nintendos, but we do have the richness of the classical music. My question now to you is another passion of mine, which is being established in good health and giving health to people around in our own family and in the community. The healing power of music, something that I experienced myself, and I'm sure you have several stories on it. From your own personal experience, your own life, your own people in your own life, and we know that you travel quite extensively, and you got to sync up with the different time zones so fast. Apart from music, what are your foundations for your good health? And what is your advice to the young people in here in the fast track world? What are some of the daily practices that you highly recommend that we can connect to continue to enjoy good health? Thank you.
Lots of things were there, how to pick up from where to where. I'll try. First of all, about therapeutic value of music. Definitely, it is proven scientifically. Today, whatever we do, it must have the stamp of scientific approval, then we accept it. But in India, there are certain things in spirituality which are beyond those things. Science cannot explain. But as far as music having this power of healing, it has been proved. And I have experienced it. And I would like to narrate one incident here, a very minor thing, but that proves how music can heal. You heard about Shafat Ahmad Khan, tabla player, playing with me, and he's no more. He passed away young. And once he was touring with me in America, and we were, as it happens here, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, non-stop, 3 different cities. And we arrived somewhere it was a Sunday. And it so happens, Sunday is the most tiring day and the concert is earlier. Today is Sunday because it's late, but normally they start early. So when we went to the hall, Shafat told me he had splitting headache. And we rushed to the hall. There was no time, he could rest. And we asked somebody from the organizers to get some tablet for him. And I started the alap. He was sitting there. When I finished the alap, by that time, somebody quietly brought a glass of water and that tablet for Shafat. So he told him, I don't need it. So later on, when we finished the concert, so he told me that when he started listening to the alap, by the time I finished alap, his headache was gone. So he didn't need the medicine. So music definitely heals. And your second question, how to keep fit? In yoga, we say that most of the diseases are psychosomatic. It's not only physical. If your mind is healthy, there are better chances of your health being healthy. Nowadays, there are different pressures on us, everybody in every field. And that is the gift of modern life. Peer pressure, competitiveness, materialistic approach. All these things take a toll on your mental health and then what physical health. So I think the most important thing is to do some meditation, to get connected with your inner self, which is called meditation. There are, I think, few things which are the enemies of today's world. Jealousy, competitiveness, greed. Now, I think the biggest reason for recession is greed of some people. They became so greedy. So these things, again, what we have been missing in today's world, value-based education, which is not there. I'm talking of India. I don't know about these countries. But when India got independence, the leaders didn't think about this aspect. We were thinking of, there was a big confusion in their mind. Spirituality means religion. It's not any particular religion. So the education which was given or still is being given is bookish education, not value-based education. And I think the most of the ills of today's society is because of that, the disconnect with the spirituality. And that needs to be done right from the beginning. The kids should be not given only bookish knowledge, but something connected with the spirituality and value-based system. And then things will change. A person who is connected and based in that source can tackle the difficult situations in a different way without getting, caught up in that web of all those things which are here. So I personally feel that. And of course, music helps. If you are not a musician, just listen to music. And there are different kinds of music. There are genres of music which relax you. And there are other genres of music which can excite you and after a while tire you. So you have to select which one suits you. And it can help. It's like a medicine. So I think, thank you very much. And before I end, I must thank Madan and his whole team of Shatatantri, who took great pains, Madhvi and all these people. I am very bad at remembering names. I was telling them yesterday. So who organized all this. And thank you very much.
So those were some of the great thoughts that we heard from Guruji on May 15, 2011. Each and every word that he has expressed is true to even today's world and today's scenarios. It's just a pure fortune to be able to learn a few things from Guruji. He has taught us a lot of things. If we are able to understand them and possibly even play some of them, if it is possible, if I will say myself, if I can play even 5% of what he has taught me, I'll feel myself very privileged and I'll feel my life is like great. So if there are any questions, let us see if we have any questions. I think we are actually kind of over time. So if we don't have any questions, then we can possibly wind up this particular interview. Do we have any questions? Okay, so I think since we are over time and we are so humbled with Guruji's presence with us today, electronic media wise. So thank you so much, Rungmunch organization, Madhav Karade, Smita Karade, and the whole team of Vista. And my student, Anar and Ashok, thank you so much for helping me out with this. And the only thing I can say is the path is difficult. It's a treacherous path. It will be only possible if we have guidance, and the guidance comes from none other but Guru. And if we are fortunate to get blessings from such great gurus, life becomes much easier. So I want to wish all my music fraternity and all my friends in music, as well as my family and everybody around in Bay Area here, a very happy Guru-Pournima 2020. Stay well, stay healthy. Namaskar.
Thanks everyone for joining from all over the world. We will have many more sessions like this coming up. For more information, go to www.rungmunch.com and you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks again for joining.